Welcome to Plastic Surgery Talk with Dr. Stephen Mulholland, brought to you by SpaMedica. Hello, Dr. Mulholland here in Toronto, Canada. Welcome back to our Plastic Surgery Talk Network and our podcast series. Today is a podcast topic of great interest: non-surgical body sculpting, non-surgical lipo. And one of the most interesting technologies come out in a long time in non-surgical lipo is our Vanquish. So today's episode, our podcast, is on the Vanquish, how to kill fat non-surgically. And if you find this interesting, entertaining, educational, please share on your social media networks, subscribe, and comment. So what is the Vanquish? The Vanquish is a device. It's a device with a very large treatment area. In fact, the largest non-surgical body contouring treatment area in the industry. It covers the entire lower abdomen and both flanks simultaneously. It's unique in that it's also non-touch. It doesn't need to touch your skin. It's a no-contact technique. What energy does it use? We've got suction-coupled cooling. That's cool sculpting. We've got contact direct laser heating. That's the sculpture. We've got contact ultrasound. That's ultrashape. We've got contact suction coupled electroporation. That's body effects. We've got contact bulk heating RF. That's XLess and Venus Freeze and Legacy. So we've got lots of contact technology. The only technology I've ever owned that didn't touch the skin at all and still worked to permanently and consistently kill fat is the Vanquish. So it's a no-touch, large applicator, permanent fat reduction technology that emits a very high frequency electromagnetic spectrum bordering on microwave. So basically it's like a safe microwave into which you can insert the patient's entire tummy and love handles, or both inner and outer thigh on either side or back flanks at the same time. So how does the Vanquish work? Well, it emits this very high frequency radio frequency energy, basically bordering on a microwave. And like a microwave, it oscillates all the molecules inside that microwave chamber, in this case, inside the large applicator technology array of the flank, tummy. It oscillates the adipocytes, the fat cells. It oscillates the molecules within the soft tissue, the fibrous connection, the blood vessels, and they all oscillate, and that oscillation creates heat. And the heat is the final common pathway that destroys the fat cell. So we use a gentle microwave type electromagnetic field emanated with a no-touch technique from the Vanquish. And over about 10 minutes, we raise the temperature to just the right temperature in the fat. Using elegant feedback impedance techniques and technology, it keeps the muscle and the skin cooler than the fat, and it oscillates around 45 degrees consistently for 45 minutes, 10 minutes to get it to the end point, and about 30 minutes to 34 minutes of heating. And what do we end up with? Fat that's been heated to the point where a certain number of fat cells aren't going to like that elevated temperature. It's just like with a sculpture. You get enough cells to 45 degrees for long enough, some of them just turn off the light, the nucleus, and the fat cell dies a non-inflammatory death called accelerated apoptosis. So 45 minutes in the microwave, once a week for 4 weeks. We can up to make 1 to 2 centimeter consistent reductions around that. Now, we also, in the Vanquish Plus program, will combine some other technologies on top of that. So the first week we might do cool sculpting, followed by once a week for 6 weeks, 4 weeks of the Vanquish, and then cool sculpting at the end. Or sculpture at the beginning, sculpture at the end. Or sculpture at the beginning, Vanquish, and cool sculpt at the end. And sometimes we include bulk heating skin tightening technology like the XLess or the Venus Freeze or the Body FX. So we can integrate and combine our technology, but the Vanquish, those 4 Vanquish treatments between week 2 and week 5 is the foundation for our Vanquish Plus program, around which we layer other successful technologies. So as SpaMedica, we believe in combination non-surgical body contouring, because rarely does one technology give you the best possible result. Sort of like injectable therapy now. We don't just do only Botox or only fillers. The best results often come from integration of Botox, soft tissue fillers, injectable Kybella for fat destruction, and injectable PRP for rejuvenation. 4 different injectable products get the best anti-aging result. We can sometimes use now up to 4 different body contouring technologies over 6 weeks to get liposuction-like results. Who's a good candidate for the Vanquish? Well, a patient with realistic expectations. They got an extra area of fat, they've tried diet and exercise, they're not using the Vanquish as a substitute for weight loss, so they can't be grossly obese. It's not for individuals with very high BMIs, 35, 38, 40, 42, that's weight loss. But they can have moderately high BMIs, 28, 30, 32, and still get a successful result with the Vanquish. So it's for our larger bodied patients or medium body type patients who do integrated multiple technology approaches. So realistic expectations, the presence of pinchable fat, no advanced uncontrolled medical diseases like advanced diabetes, advanced atherosclerotic disease, no autoimmune diseases like lupus or MS, and then they have to also not have any pacemakers, no bladder pacemakers, no cardiac pacemakers. They should not be pregnant. And lastly, no metal fixation in their orthopedic structures like the spine or the joints, because that electromagnetic field can heat up those little plates, rods, and screws and lead to a localized bony trauma. So no hardware from neurosurgeons or orthopedic surgeons. And then expectations that are realistic. So what happens on your Vanquish day? How is the treatment performed, delivered? Well, first of all, we've gone through the risks and the benefits. Like all non-surgical body contouring technologies, there's very, very few risks. Sometimes there's consequences of cooling the fat too much with cool sculpting, but they're usually temporary effects. Sometimes there's the risk of a small laser burn from sculpture. There's the risk of a Vanquish thermal injury and a small blister or burn. So we have to have the right technique and technician and staff. We've got very experienced staff here, so those risks are very small. The day starts with showing up. You've undergone your risk and benefit and assessment. You've signed up for the program. You've signed your consent. We mark you out in the areas that bug you. The pot, the love handles, your inner outer thigh, your back flanks. And then we position the applicator, the Vanquish applicator with the large central and two-side flank or inner outer thigh adapters, just far enough away from the skin that there's no touch, but it's close enough that the high frequency electrical current, the microwaves, are going to come in through the air, through the skin without heating the skin too much, and stay localized in the fat because of certain impedance and certain propagation variables around fat. It heats up preferentially due to impedance differences between the muscle and the skin. So the microwaves stay localized in the fat, heat up the fat preferentially to the skin and the muscle. And once you're comfortable under there, you can read a book, read a magazine. You can't look at your cell phone or your iPad because it emits a low RF field. We can interfere with the RF field from the Vanquish. So magazine, traditional magazine, and book reading for about 45 minutes while we're melting your fat. There's really no pain. There can be the warmth and feeling of your fat at 45 degrees, but I wouldn't call it painful. If you feel a hot spot, we have a little call button. You want to notify your SpaMedica technician to come in and adjust that area because you shouldn't feel any pain or hot spots. At the end of the program, you get right off the table, put on your clothes, go right back to your normal activities. Yes, we do advocate. We recommend an exercise program, dietary modification, minimize alcohol consumption, drink lots of water. But those are all variables that you may or may not control around the Vanquish program. As long as you don't put on weight, the Vanquish Plus program will work to kill fat for you with or without exercise. And that's what generally happens on the day of. Get off the table, right back to your life. Is the Vanquish program painful? Of all the technologies that we use to kill fat, it is one of the least uncomfortable technologies. So you feel that warmth. There can be a sense of really warming the fat, and it can feel like you might on a very hot summer day when you have that hot sun on your skin. But I would not call it painful. It's very tolerable. Rarely do patients have to stop the treatment, and if they do, it's because they feel a hot spot. Hot spots, which are like a superficial burn, like some damage may be happening to your skin, like if you have laser hair removal and get a very hot area when they pulse. That hot spot should not occur with the Vanquish. That's evidence that your distance between the Vanquish applicator and your body may have shifted. You might have shifted a little bit, or it's over a bony prominence like a hip pointer. You want to notify your technician. The technician will come back in the room and adjust the technology for you. So is it painful? No. If the treatment's going according to plan, you haven't shifted, and the electromagnetic field is penetrating the fat from the distance in the air that it needs to. Some of our non-surgical body contour technologies do have recovery. After cool sculpting, you have that suction coupled sort of paniculus or popsicle, you need a massage. There's some sensitivity. Sometimes after some of our technology with suction coupling, there can be a little bit of bruising and swelling and redness. With the Vanquish, there's a little erythema and redness to the skin, but it fades very, very quickly. The redness is gone within an hour. There is no bruising. There's no suction coupled marks. There's no hypersensitivity. It's a no-touch technique that uses microwave energy to target your fat selectively. So it allows you to get off the table with no recovery, get right back to activities of daily living, go right back to the gym, or go back, lie on the couch and watch a Netflix movie. So really no recovery with this technology, which makes it a very popular component of our Vanquish Plus program. With our Vanquish Plus program, 4 Vanquish treatments once a week, sandwiched by techniques on either end, we believe in that technology so much here at SpaMedica. We've had so many good results. We basically will guarantee that you will notice a centimeter of fat reduction, a pinchable fat. We measure you with a tape measure. We can use B-mode ultrasound. We can use pinchable fat caliper measurements. But if we don't see a 1 centimeter response, we're going to give you a complementary treatment. So we believe in our technology enough that essentially almost all patients will respond to a Vanquish Plus program. Because if, let's say, if the cool sculpting doesn't work, the sculpture might. If the sculpture might not, the cool sculpting might. If both don't work, the Vanquish probably will. If that doesn't, Body Effects will get you. So by our integrated body contouring program under the Vanquish umbrella, we can pretty much give you that kind of warranty. If you ain't seeing the results we talk about, we're going to give you a free treatment. Now, having said that, it's only about 5 or 10% of the time that we have non-responders to the entire program. The other 90% plus of patients are going to see a very significant and noticeable reduction in their shape. In fact, a lot of our results with our integrated approach of our non-surgical body contouring, non-surgical lipo program are almost approaching lipo-like results, like liposuction, a modest liposuction. We've gotten that good at killing fat non-surgically. So I'd anticipate you should not only get a noticeable improvement, but more contour enhancement and fat reduction than you ever might thought possible with a non-surgical, non-liposuction technique. Many patients ask or write in or send emails into SpaMedica, can I combine different non-surgical body contouring technologies? Maybe they've gone to a clinic where they're doing cool sculpting, but they don't have Vanquish, and they go to another clinic with Vanquish, and then they hear about sculpture. They go to another clinic with sculpture. And yes, the answer is integrated non-surgical body contouring technologies that work to kill fat different ways will often summate for the best result. Certain fat cells are responsive to cooling and might work with cool sculpting, but there's a limit to the number of cells that will die with a cool sculpting approach. Certain fat cells will die to sculpture that may not have responded to cool sculpting. Certain fat cells respond to the Vanquish and to microwave high-frequency electrical current. Certain fat cells respond to electroporation or even ultrasound. So by mixing and matching the energy forms and those energy forms killing fat in different ways, we can synergize and get additive and summative approaches by combining technology. So not only can you combine your technology, at SpaMedica, we believe in the best result, and you're not going to get the best result without combining 2 or more technologies in the modern approach to non-surgical body sculpting. How much is a non-surgical body contouring, non-surgical lipo program going to cost you? Our Vanquish Plus program, where 2 or 3 different technologies are used over 6 weeks to give you the best possible result. Well, the cost of a program like that varies on how many zones you're going to treat, how much fat in each zone, but in general, our Vanquish Plus non-surgical lipo program is going to be about half the price of liposuction for the same areas. But I'll tell you, the results are better than half the results of liposuction. So it's a cost-effective, affordable way to get permanent, remember this fat is permanent, it is dead, to get permanent results that are not going to come back if you maintain your weight, and it's going to be far less expensive than traditional liposuction. After the Vanquish, is the fat permanent? Is it gone forever, or is it a temporary result? The Vanquish, to clarify, those microwaves, very high frequency, radio frequency energy, they are killing fat cells. Those fat cells are not coming back. These fat cells that die, and as the cushion of your fat shrinks, that's a permanent result. With the Vanquish Plus program, 2 or more technology giving you the best possible result, what happens if you put on weight? if you put on weight, it's not going to go back to the fat cells that are dead because they're gone and removed, gently eliminated by your body, but it will go back to fat cells that are still there. So you will compromise your localized result. If you've had a good shrinkage and there's more calories than fat cells left in your pot, your love handle, inner outer thigh, remember the fat, just like liposuction, it's going to go somewhere else. So if you put on weight after liposuction or after the Vanquish Plus program, that fat's going to show up where you don't want it. A different area, a non-contoured area. If you did your tummy and your hips, inner outer thighs with the Vanquish Plus program, the fat will go to your arms, your double chin, your calves, nowhere good. So the take-home message, if you're going to invest in the Vanquish Plus program, invest, be disciplined in weight maintenance. Maintain your weight so your contour improvement and the permanent fat reduction is truly forever. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast, informative and entertaining, I hope, on the Vanquish Plus program, the Vanquish being one of our anchor technologies for a multiple device approach to non-surgical body sculpting. If you found this entertaining, interesting, please share it, subscribe, and leave a comment.